would you state your full name and your title and what organization you belong to?
Sure. So I'm Lindsey Wallis. I'm a licensed massage therapist. I'm also a certified medical massage practitioner, and I'm self-employed. So
Okay, that's super interesting. And like I was sharing with you before, I am not familiar with this at all. So I'm super excited for what you have to share with me. If you could briefly describe what led you to your current job, any details you can share, like what led you to this? How'd you know you wanted to do this? Anything kind of that you were unsuccessful with before that brought you here?
So I was actually in college, had 3 years in, and just to be honest, I was looking around like I really don't want to do the job that I'm getting a degree for. I had a disabled brother-in-law who had a massage therapist come in and work with him regularly. I was really interested in that. At the time, I was waitressing, and I thought, I really think I want to do something where I can be my own boss. I hadn't had the greatest bosses, and I wanted to be in charge of my own schedule, particularly. I didn't want to have to ask off every time my kids had something and get in trouble for it. And I really thought I was just going to go to massage school and have this thing that I could do on the side and then have my real career over here, and massage would be part-time. But I fell in love with it, and I loved being self-employed, and I can't imagine going the other direction now that I am.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I also have spent a bit of time in college and then ended up pursuing something else. But I love that you found like a big passion for it. Like it was supposed to be this side thing, and then it became your love. So that's awesome. Could you help us understand what education and training or even experience you have to do what you do?
Sure. So the typical massage school, you have to have 500 hours of in-class. Some people can achieve that in as little as 6 months if you're a full-time student, or it may take up to a year, just depending on the hours, but 500 hands-on. And then, of course, you have to pass state boards, and they're actually very similar to a nurse's exam. So a lot of it's anatomy, kinesiology, physiology, a lot of knowledge about the body in order to get that license.
Okay. Could you explain your role and the skills required for your position? So I'm most interested in hard skills and soft skills. Also, I think a lot of people have never had a massage before. So even what even is a massage, or what would bring somebody there to you?
Right. So there's so many different, some people choose to work in spas or hair salons. Mine is more medical based. And actually my clientele is, I would say, mostly over the age of 65. So I get a lot of people just regular aches and pains or after surgery. A lot of physical therapists refer people to me. And everybody is different. There are some people that I would do more stretching with, more than an actual massage. You really just have to figure out what's going on with that person, what's hurting, and how we can work on that and help that. So a massage is more so we just get into those inner layers of the muscles and find scar tissue buildup, inflammation, and it is all about loosening that up, getting your circulatory system going. So I even have some elderly people that come to me because their cardiologist has sent them, because they don't have good circulation, and it is just an overall, there's a lot of different benefits. But the majority of people come to me after injury or surgery, I would say, to aid in that recovery.
Okay, interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. What about soft skills? Lindsey, you've told us about all these hard skills and what like areas you have to be trained in, but what other skills are important that maybe you're not learning in the classroom?
Right. You really have to be able to work with people. It is so much communication, constantly being able to not only listen to others, but communicate to them in a way they understand. A typical person doesn't understand all of this medical terminology, but you have to be able to meet somebody and understand kind of where they're at with what's going on, and find a way where you can meet them in the middle where they understand, send them home with skills. But just, you're not going to make everybody happy. And that's also figuring out when you are self-employed, you don't have somebody else to say, let me send this to a manager and let them dissolve this problem. You have to figure out, how are we going to solve this? And not everybody's going to be happy every time. So I think dealing with people is the biggest thing, even more so than education or physical skills. You have to be able to deal with the public.
Right. It's critical. Otherwise, I mean, you can be the best massage therapist, I bet, but if you don't have those people skills, then it's not going to be a business for very long. Right.
Right.
So what's an average day look like for you?
A lot of laundry. That is the biggest thing if you're a massage therapist. But no, get to the office. I actually rent a room from a chiropractor. So although I'm self-employed, I'm still kind of tied into this, but get there and get everything ready. I usually start at 9 o'clock in the morning with clients and end around 6. A lot of note taking and paperwork, just like when you go to a doctor and they have to chart everything after you leave, we have to do the same. That way we know how to treat them the next time they come in and be able to mark and follow their progress. A lot of cleaning and a lot of laundry and a lot of phone calls because I do. And again, you have these choices. I choose to do all of my own booking. In some ways, I really benefit from that. And in other ways, it means I am on the phone constantly. So you kind of have to pick and choose what route you want to take on different things.
Okay. On an average, how many patients do you see a day?
I try to stick to 5 because I found that it's harder on my body when I do more than that. But I catch myself doing about 8.
Oh, my.
And I should not. I do that to myself. But again, when you make your own schedule, you tend not to stick with it always.
Right. You probably say yes a lot more than you would if you had a concrete schedule and someone else running it for you. They could say the no for you.
Right. It is so much easier when you have someone else to let someone down or tell them no for you. But when it's on me, I tend to say yes more than I should. And I'm working on that.
I completely understand. Well, what do you think is the best part of your job?
Honestly, I think the most rewarding part definitely would be when you get to see the progress someone is making and you get to see their quality of life improving and you know that you've had a major hand in that. That is just really, especially when you get elderly people, which I'm soft anyways. A lot of them don't have family. They don't have people there. And you kind of become family with these people. So you want to see them heal as much as they want to heal. It means as much to me as it does to them to be able to see the progress they make and just to give them a quality of life, and that's different to everybody. I have elderly people that just means they want to be able to walk out to their mailbox and back every day. But if those small things are big wins to me. So definitely clients, the people you become family with.
I love that so much. You are so passionate about it. That's incredible. They're lucky to have you. What's the most challenging part, Lindsey? What's the hardest part?
People in the same hand. No, you do get people that you realize, okay, this is something I have to send them to someone else. Like it's skeletal. It's not something I can mess with. That's definitely a downer. But again, you're not going to please everybody. You're going to have people that get mad no matter if you are doing everything perfect and right by the book. And I find it's really hard to manage, especially when you're self-employed. You don't have anybody to tell you no either. You don't have somebody to say you're working too much or these are your set hours. You have to really learn to set those boundaries for yourself and be easy on yourself and to accept that you're not going to make everybody happy. But just do your job and do your best and got to move forward from it.
Yeah, all of that's great advice. And I think we all struggle with that, but I have been an entrepreneur in the past and then now, and that is the biggest challenge to me is finding boundaries and not working all the time on this thing that you're incredibly passionate about. So.
Right.
So, Lindsey, you sound like you love what you do, but do you have any further longer term career goals? What does it look like in the future for you?
I do. So I'm actually, once you get your license, every 2 years, you have to get 19 continuing education hours to maintain this license. What's great about that, though, is you get to pick any subject you want to take these classes in, and then you're certified. So you get so much more knowledge and education as you go. I'm working on getting enough hours to be certified that I want to start teaching some of my own continuing education classes. Because I know, like, this is one of those jobs, really, you cannot work full-time for years and years and years. It's hard on your body. So I'm kind of looking for ways I can take it differently. And eventually I would like to open my own place and just kind of have some people working under me. So maybe I'm not doing as much of the physical work, but still getting to be involved in what I love.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Okay. Well, that's super interesting. What advice would you give to students that are looking to find a career that they really enjoy?
Mm-hmm. So I think, especially when you live where we do in these smaller communities, a big thing is you obviously want to find something you love, but you also need to find something that is going to fit what you want your future to look like. Some of the things we want to do in this area just simply do not make money in the smaller communities. There's not the opportunities here. So you have to think about, okay, well, if this is a job I want to do, I'm going to have to move for this, or I'm going to have to live at home. And how could I make that work here? Do I have the available resources to be able to live where I want to live and still make money at a job that I love?
Right.
And there's so many different ways to look. You need to look at what are the big things for me that I feel like are a necessity in a career. If that is, I want to live close to home, or I want to be self-employed, or whatever that looks like, and try to find one that you can enjoy doing every day that meets those points for you.
That's a great point. You can't just pick one of those pieces. You need to look at it from the big picture.
Yes.
Really good point. So what advice would you give to students to prepare for an interview? And I think, I'm not sure about your history with hiring, or interviewing yourself, but any wisdom you could share would be great.
Right. So, obviously we always tell kids to dress your best. I'm one of those, I don't think you need to go. That is not my biggest point. However, you want to look like you care about this and you tried. But going in and also being honest. If you know that you want to work part-time and full-time is not going to work for you, don't feel the need to tell an interviewer that, sure, I'll work full-time, and now you're stuck in this position that you can't be in. So obviously honesty, but just presenting yourself well. And being able to think about what your strong points are. If you know you're great with speaking with people, or you're good at learning, those are things you most certainly want to present. And I think a mistake a lot of people make, and I've done this in the past when going into like a waitressing job, was acting like I had so much more knowledge about it than I did, rather than, I think most interviewers appreciate when you're like, look, I don't know the ins and outs of this, but I'm a quick learner and I'm excited to learn about it. That speaks more volumes than trying to present yourself as more knowledgeable and then you're stuck in a position.
I completely agree. Just being able to verbalize that you want to learn, that you're excited to learn, and grateful for that opportunity versus, like you said, saying that you have those skills and not necessarily having anything to back that up. And that just sets you up for a letdown in that situation. I think, like you said, most employers would rather that honesty up front and that excitement, because most skills are teachable. You just need willing people to do them. So.
Yes, absolutely.
So what is, let's see, what is my next question? I lost my train of thought here. What advice would you give? Nope, I've already said that. I'm going to edit this out, Lindsay.
That's okay.
What is the job outlook for your occupation?
So there's definitely, and it depends on the area you're in, but there are more and more massage therapists all the time. But what I found is they're staying busy, and because you can take this to so many different directions, meaning if you decide you only want to go in and work in assisted living, like with patients like that, you can take the route and do that. If you want to work in hospitals, in a chiropractor's clinic, in a spa. And because of that reason, I think there's so many more people flocking to the occupation because they're seeing that it can be all of these different things. I work in Mountain Home, and I believe there's 48 of us massage therapists there at the moment. And
Wow.
we are very busy. So,
Well, that's incredible. That's really good to know.
mhm.
Are there any opportunities with you for internships, paid or unpaid, job shadowing, or mentorship?
Absolutely. So we do the unpaid job shadowing. I'm always willing to let anyone come along, and they will let you, if you're in massage therapy school, you can actually use that as some of your clinical hours, job shadowing under another therapist. And I'm also always looking for people to go with me to do larger groups or parties or conventions. And I really like to try to hire and pay, obviously, new graduates, just simply to kind of get their name out there, give them a chance to kind of kickstart their career as well. And I need a second person because there's only one of me.
Right. Perfect. What about mentorship? Is that something, if someone was interested in this, you would be willing to share some of your knowledge with them?
Absolutely. When I started school for this, especially, I just had no clue. I didn't know anybody that was a massage therapist. I hadn't spoke with anybody. I just kind of got luck of the draw and it worked out. But I think it would be so helpful just to have somebody who is doing it and who has been through all of it already to kind of give you some advice and some mentoring. So absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that offer. I hope some students take you up on it. All right. Well, that's all the questions I have prepared, but is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to share?
I don't think so. I think we got everything good. I'm sure I'll think of something, but I'm awful like that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Lindsey. I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to talking soon.
absolutely. Thank you.